Hi, I'm Kaitlin Marone. I am an independent candidate for United States Senate here in Louisiana, and I want to talk to you about the cops, the police. Part of my platform is cops need therapy, and I know that sounds weird, so I'm going to explain it to you. Cops need therapy. Here's why. Never felt more strongly about this, but there have been two big events that happened in Baton Rouge over the past week that prove this to me more than ever. One is the execution of Alton Sterling, which happened because he was selling CDs in front of a corner store that was owned by his friend. It was recorded, and he was shot to death after being immobilized by the police. The other is the outsized response I personally saw when I went to a demonstration in Baton Rouge that was organized about this shooting that was organized by teenagers who talked about their hopes and dreams and also read poetry that was better than most teen poetry. Like, it was good, you know, which is rare. So after they got done talking peacefully, we were confronted as demonstrators by police with wearing riot gear and with automatic weapons. And both of those are reactions that are rooted in fear. Fear of the citizens that these cops are supposed to be serving. It's a problem that cops are fearful of the citizens they're supposed to protect. That is a problem. And it is something that is reinforced over and over again by the institutions that are made to protect police whenever they are told that that is an appropriate response and that they shooting somebody that they were afraid of was okay. They are told that every time. Instead of somebody saying we should work through that fear, they are given more weapons and more body armor and told to be more defensive. This has been happening for decades upon decades now, so the fear is pretty deeply rooted in the institution itself. The fear is of citizens. It is more specifically a fear of black citizens, and even if a police officer doesn't think they're racist, this is still something that is part of the institution. So we need to ask them to deal with it. They need to deal with it. It can't be ignored. This fear enhances the gulf of understanding between citizens and police. If police are afraid of citizens aren't going to call them knowing that they might see them as the threat instead of the citizen that needs to be protected. So people are going to deal with their problems on their own. They're going to deal with them between each other in ways that are potentially much more violent. And if we're asking police to protect people, it's the job of the police to make sure people feel comfortable calling them. So another part of this is we accept that returning veterans from Iraq and Afghanistan come back with a certain amount of trauma from experiencing events that are stressful and terrifying and all that. As a country, we know we need to provide better mental health care for them. We talk about it all the time. It's something that people on both sides of the issues can agree on. We need that. The fact that we aren't talking about that with cops is confusing, right? Because these are people that we ask to be in traumatic situations for us. We tell them it's their job to see things that are horrific and so forth, and we don't ask them to deal with what they've seen. We don't ask them to deal with it emotionally. We don't ask them to process that fear. We ask them instead to bring that fear into the next time they see a person, right? The next situation they're in. So they've got it in with them. It makes it harder for them to make decisions. When you have an institutionalized fear of black skin and you have an institutionalized demand to never deal with the trauma you've experienced, you are in a situation where you are much more likely to shoot a black person for obvious reasons. Like, those two things together are creating a very dangerous situation for Black citizens, and we need to give cops therapy. We need to force cops to accept that they need to deal with these problems. We need the institutions to support cops in that way. We need to provide that for them because they deserve it. They don't deserve to have to build up this kind of trauma and live with it every day. We're not serving them, and they're not serving us, so it has to be addressed. Cops need therapy. We need to do a million other things with cops. There's so much that the justice system needs right now, but this is a practical start. So thank you so much for listening. Again, my name is Kaitlin Marone, running for U.S. Senate in Louisiana. I'm an independent candidate, and I have